Is there something in your life that you are desperate to change? Is there something that you're feeling stuck with or unfulfilled or you're resentful about? I would offer you this question and answer it as honestly as you can. In regards to this situation, are you entertaining a form of magical thinking? And that is, I want my life to change, but I don't want to have to change. My name is Alina, and I'm a recovery and transformation coach. And I make videos talking about my own journey of recovery through burnout, addiction, and self-loss. And this is such a sticky part of transformation. Whatever you're wanting to change, maybe it's something your partner is doing, or how much money you're making, or how the world is. Whatever it is, if it falls in the category of outside of yourself, meaning external, you're outsourcing your power. And the way to really get unstuck and change what you desperately want to change is to shift the external to the internal. Because when you change, this is when the world starts responding to you. A really hard truth in transformation is that other people or outside situations don't make life easier for you. You make life easier for you. And I hope that that makes you feel empowered. That was a massive step for me on my journey, was really owning that my life is my responsibility. But it's deeper than that as well, because when we go about change, all we can ever change or control is ourselves. So in transformation, the new life that you're wanting comes from a new identity. And in order to step into a new identity, you have to let the old identity go. And this is where you may have heard the term ego death or dark night of the soul. And I am going to use the word death here and die, even though it's a little aggressive, but I think it really brings the point home. And that is, in order to step into a new identity, we have to let the old parts go. We have to let them die. And this is really painful. And that's, if you've ever had a dark night of the soul, I'm sure it didn't escape your notice. It's just a massive, seismic, emotional rock bottom where the way that you have seen the world shatters and you realize that you can't go forward in the same way anymore. And for me, at least in my experience, it's centered around different roles and identities. And each time I had one of these dark nights of the soul, it was asking me to look at what was no longer working and let that part go. And yes, I'm using the word ego death or a part of you needs to die, but it's not you. It's just a part of you. It's a role that we all have. It's programming. We all build ourselves into an identity. And there are certain points in life that ask us or make us confront, is that role really serving us anymore? This role is not who you are. In fact, this role, if left unchecked, can ruin your life. Here's some examples of what I'm talking about. Maybe you consider yourself a good person, a good girl or a good boy. What is that costing you to hold that up? Or the achiever, the performer, the people pleaser, the caretaker, the addict. What I'm referencing here can also be attributed to parts theory or internal family systems. And it's just looking at how we have many different aspects to ourselves. And sometimes certain parts of ourselves are in the driver's seat, really front and center, running our lives. And if we can really honestly look at that part and say, what is this part trying to control? What is this part wanting? And then ask yourself, do I need that anymore? Do I want to honor that part of myself, or would I rather have that part take a back seat? And part of the reason I'm saying that we have to look at this part and let it die is because it's not cosmetic in nature. You're not going to work with this and you're not going to like transform it into something that kind of work. I mean, we're talking about on a cellular level, a change on a cellular level. You will feel different. You need to feel different to step into this next role. This is where you take an inventory of yourself, not your partner, not your friends, not the job you want or the number on the scale that you want to achieve. You, how you operate in the world. This is knowing yourself and really looking at the parts of you that show up that get yourself in trouble. If there's a part that you desperately want to change and you are not changing and you're still stuck, what part of yourself gets you there? And this is where I love, oh my gosh, it's such an old movie. It's a Tom Hanks movie where he's on a boat and the pirate gets on the boat and he says to Tom Hanks, "Look at me. I'm the captain now." And he says it with such sincerity, a whole body, "I am the captain now." Now you can find your own, but I loved this for my own work. And when I see a part show up that is causing me to get into dysfunction over and over again, I look at it and I say, "I am the captain now." And even though I've been using the word death and killing off and dying and all of that, what parts theory would tell you to do is to just let it take a back seat. Embrace it, honor it for where it got you. It kept you alive to this point, but it is no longer in the driver's seat of your life. You are the captain now. You are the captain of your own life, and you say what parts are in the driver's seat and what parts are in the way, way, way back. And this is really, really hard stuff. This is why people don't change, is because letting these parts die, letting them go all the way to the back and telling them that you're the captain now is really, really hard to do. This is why people stay stuck. This is why people don't change. This is why people ruin their lives by staying in a role that doesn't serve them anymore. Many people will choose a familiar hell versus the unknown. Because what you're doing when you're taking this part and letting it die or take a very, very, very back seat to your life is that you're choosing the unknown. And the unknown is scary. It's uncertainty, and we don't know what's there. But when you let that part take a back seat, when that part of you dies, it's not left vacant. Other parts of you show up. What parts of you were drowned out by that other part being in the driver's seat? My people pleaser part, oh my gosh. When that part takes a back seat, so many other beautiful areas of myself show up. So sometimes a familiar hell can be a friend group. It can be an ex, substances, saying yes or not saying no, putting all of your attention on and focus on that diet just one more time. But it might be also something that is really scary, like a big one, like maybe a divorce or leaving a job and that security. Ego deaths are very scary. It's called a dark night of the soul for a reason. Hopefully you don't have too many over your life. But what is it asking you to look at? What is it asking you to let go of so that you can be free? So I want to circle back and say again, other people or outside situations don't make life easier for you. You make life easier for you. If you notice a part of yourself that really needs to die, this is going to take some grief work and some integration. And both of those things are not very commonly talked about in our culture. But when something falls away out of your life, it is important to take some time to grieve that and to integrate the new. And again, nothing real is dying. It was just programming that wasn't really you anyway. But that part kept you alive and got you to the point where you are now. And it's familiar and it's comfortable. And letting that go is going to be very uncomfortable. So there's grief work in that. Take extra care of yourself. Be extra soft with yourself. Talk extra loving to yourself during this period. I'm sorry, I have a very, very chatty cat. And integration is something that I do hear talked about more. I really needed to learn this because I've got some hustler still left in me that wants to, advance and keep going and advance and keep going. And integration means slow down and absorb. And we don't know what it's going to feel like when we transition out of one identity into the next. And if you're not taking time to grieve the old part and integrate the new, then you can get really overwhelmed and fall back into old patterns and old habits. And then feel like a failure and get really hard on yourself. Instead of going down that route, honor yourself, honor the grief work that needs to happen, and allow yourself some time to feel a little weird, a little uncomfortable, unsure of yourself, not sure where you're going or what's going to happen. But that's what I hope that you can get excited about and curious about. Curiosity is excellent in integration. You also want to get really comfortable with your nervous system. So as you're letting this other part go and you're stepping into whatever new form is going to take place or other parts that are going to come up and be in the driver's seat, get to know how your body responds, your physical body, your nervous system is responding. And notice when you're at peace and when you are high anxiety or scattered or overwhelmed. And these are also just excellent ways to make life easier for you anyway. Like this is you knowing yourself, knowing your limits, and knowing how to take care of yourself to make life easier for you, regardless of what the world is doing, what your partner is doing, what your friend is up to. This is you being in the driver's seat of your own life. So as you leave your familiar hell and you start stepping into the unknown and grieving the past, integrating what wants to step forward and be a new part that takes the lead, know and honor your limits. So if you were a people pleaser, start people pleasing yourself. Switch that around. If you were an achiever for external validation, now you get to achieve by honoring yourself. A real big one, start telling the truth. First and foremost, tell yourself the truth. Tell yourself the truth about how you feel, about what you want, about what you need, and then tell others that truth. It won't feel easy at first, but there is nothing that makes your life easier than telling yourself the truth and telling other people the truth. And if you have any people pleaser in you, it will be so unbearably uncomfortable at first. This is real unknown territory for a lot of people. Just telling the truth, being direct, give the part of you that needs that the opportunity to see that you can be safe in telling the truth. As you work on all of this, you will notice that life feels lighter and the world starts actually opening up to you in ways that you wouldn't expect. And that's what we miss when we're stuck in dysfunction and doing things the way we've always done them and making sure that everything external to us is the way that we want it instead of looking at what we want and need. And what that lightness comes from, what that opening up in front of you is from, is your whole holistic self being in coherence. Your mental, your emotional, your spiritual, and your physical, all in coherence, working together. This is the creator mode that I always talk about. Letting parts of you die gets you out of survival mode and into creator mode. So as you're letting these parts of yourself go, honor them, journal it out, look at what that part did to serve you. Dance it out. Thank it for its service. But let's be honest. We all have roles or parts of ourselves that have cost us. And when we tell ourselves the truth about that we blocked ourselves from certain opportunities, that it kept other parts of us that are magical and full of power, that it kept those parts hidden, and then you're going to transmute that energy, you're going to alchemize it to lean into the unknown and see what kind of magic is on the other side. What would happen if you stopped being a bystander in your life and instead started to become someone who would no longer choose the life you're living? That is how I changed my life. I promise you, nothing will ever change in the way that you want it to change by you being the creator until you start to know yourself. Love yourself enough to honor what you want and need and tell yourself the truth, and be brave and courageous enough to step into the unknown to meet more parts of yourself. If you've been here for this far, I know you can do this. Thanks for being with me on this journey.